Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and the patch notes are out. We're a little bit later with that because, well, we reviewed the cards for Cataclysm, the new Hearthstone expansion, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do. It was just out like an hour or two ago. Regardless, patch notes are out, and it's not just pre-order stuff and all that. We have a bunch of cards in Standard that are buffed and available to play buffed right now. They're all rotating, so they're like last chance to have some fun with them, and there's some spicy buffs in there. We also have a bunch of events coming up, free stuff, as well as basically old expansions being given away for free for certain players. We're gonna go over it. There's a ton of stuff. Of course, we did announce our giveaway for the 2 regular pre-orders and mega bundle for the Cataclysm expansion. To enter that giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel. Every 1,000 subs we get until the rewards track refresh goes live, I will add another mega bundle. So hit that sub button, make me go baroque. So yes, the draft, this is the draft version. I'm recording this a little bit early. These patch notes will be linked down below if you want to take a look. That's why you see weird things like these videos not being loaded in. And of course, Cataclysm will be launching on March 17th. Pre-orders and all of that are live. There is a dev comment here, which is a bit interesting because we are seeing a change to this expansion that we haven't seen in a very long time with, we'd like to share a peek behind the curtain at a change coming to Hearthstone. Beginning with Cataclysm, major expansions will return to a total of 135 cards. I think that was the number it was at before they introduced Death Knight. Neutral common cards haven't seen as much play as we'd like, you know, pack fillers. So we're removing 10 neutral commons, but these cards aren't really disappearing. Instead, they're transforming into something more exciting. Going forward, we're using that design space to create new, higher rarity event cards that you'll be able to earn for free. So they're not taking commons away and charging more for them. You'll be able to get them for free throughout the Cataclysm expansion cycle. These changes make it easier for you to get your hands on exciting new cards, both in opening expansion packs and through events. They're really gung-ho on events, which personally I enjoy. I think it's a good thing. Free stuff is always good, at least in my opinion, as long as you don't have to work too hard for it, and they've gotten better at that. Those are just a few of several improvements rolling out this year. As highlighted in the Hearthstone Spotlight, we're also introducing new class sets that give every class more impactful tools and shine an even brighter light on their unique playstyles. So really wanting to go back to more focus on class identity, which was a major problem like the last year and even the year before that. We've talked a lot about that. I've mentioned that as an issue for a long time. They see it too, and they're making some, you know, strides and effort to make it better, right? And they do say we can't wait to share more with you soon. So we don't know exactly the details on that stuff quite yet, but we know that change is coming. So hopefully it'll be good and not way more expensive, right? Right? Totally gonna happen? I don't know. This is the legendary, again, we reviewed this earlier today. That's live in the game, Warmaster Blackhorn. If you want to log into Hearthstone, try it out right now. It is available. And we have a bunch of events coming up. First, there's this online event called Rally the Dragon Flights, where it says, help the Hearthstone community unlock all the dragon flights to earn a free legendary Abyssian and 2 signature copies of Envoy of the End. From February 9th to March 17th, visit our Cataclysm Rally Point page, so starting today, to take part in the community's effort to prepare for Deathwing's attack. Help rally the dragon flights by signing up for our email list, claiming drops on Hearthstone streams, and liking or sharing Hearthstone posts across the social media platforms on Instagram, Blue Sky, or I'm sorry, I will not call it this. I'm going to call it Twitter or Facebook. So again, these patch notes will be linked down below. I will link the Rally Point page whenever it's up. If it's up now, it'll be linked there to check it out. We'll probably talk more about it in the day 1 patch review tomorrow, but I obviously don't have access to it at the moment, so we can't really go through that, but it'll look something like this, and you can sign up and do whatever is available and get some free stuff, which again, free is good. Take advantage of free. We also have regular in-game events coming. The Wave 1 Fire and Storm, which will grant quite a few things. A new free card. I think it's the Rewind spell we reviewed earlier. There's tavern tickets for like the arena or brawls and stuff like that. Time Waste pack, a golden pack, Cataclysm pack, and this pretty rad Ragnaros Fire Portrait. So yeah, that'll go from February 10th, so starting tomorrow, for 2 weeks. So yeah, get in on that, get free stuff. Then we have Wave 2, Death and Madness, where there's going to be 2 event cards available, which we have reviewed already. It looks like there will also be golden versions of them, tavern tickets, another portrait. The cards, again, that we'll be getting, I believe, are Dark Iron Harbinger, as well as the Disciple of Demise. So the Doomsayer and Dragon card, which is pretty cool. And this is the free portrait that will be available. And there will also be a new legendary quest chain that goes from February 7th or 17th to March 3rd and March 3rd to 17th. These will grant an Across the Time Waste pack, a golden Across the Time Waste pack, a Cataclysm pack, and a golden Cataclysm pack. So lots of goodies to get, and I will say we get more free stuff than ever, and a large part of that, from my understanding, is the Gambas, the predatory garbage, which we'll go over. There is more, but hey, we get way more free stuff, and I always appreciate that. Now, on to the buffs, where we have another dev comment of well met. For our final update of the Year of the Raptor, we're giving a boost to a handful of underplayed cards so they can have one last opportunity to shine before rotating from standard to wild. Looking ahead to our next major update in 35.0, you can expect exciting changes as we refresh the core set, complete the set rotation, and roll out a big batch of balance change updates, right? So that's gonna have the Elise change and whatever else. Hopefully, you know, Dragon Warrior and Blob of Tar spam can be reduced. So we'll talk about that at a future date. But yes, there will be balance changes still, more so before the expansion goes live. Until then, we hope you have fun experimenting with these buffs. So what are these buffs? Well, Dr. Stitch and Sew is now a 5 mana 5/4 minion instead of 6/4. Never really saw the light of day, and maybe at 5 could work out. Maybe a good Elise activator, possibly. CCG going to 3 mana, remaining a 4/4. That is overstated. Plus, you get 3 cards for 3 mana. The power creep, Ogre Brute, is crying in the corner. That's actually kind of nuts. Zortoth, a Breaker of Stars, goes from 6 mana to 5 mana, so we can use that shatter mechanic kind of already, right? Emergency Meeting, really good arena card, pretty decent ladder card at times. 1 mana instead of 2. Ulu goes from a 4-mana or from a 6/5 to a 4-mana 5/4. Terrible card. I think it'll remain terrible, but the flavor is good at least. Exarch Othar goes from 4 mana to 3 mana. Hemet Foam Marksman goes from a 5 mana 3/6 to a 3 mana 3/4. Gorm the World Eater, basically whenever it destroys a minion to the right, it will activate 2 turns sooner rather than 1. Arcwing Pilot goes to 6 mana, the whole Draenei Spellburst thing going on. Yogg in the Box, I'm going to play me some Quest Mage for sure, as Yogg in the Box goes from 8 mana to 7 mana. Ingenious Artificer is now a 4/5 and 4 mana to help cheat out that Draenei a little bit faster. Yrel goes to 3 mana. I really hope this doesn't somehow make Libram Paladin better in Wild, because it's way too good already outside of... Well, actually, Warlock is everything in Wild right now, but still, that's what spooks me, not so much for Standard. Interstellar Wayfarer now gains a Death Rattle on top of the Battle Cry to reduce the cost of Librams by 1 this game, so maybe even this slots into Wild, probably too slow, but I feel like this card absolutely should have been like this from day one. This is one where I'm like, come on, why didn't they buff this sooner? Twilight Medium now sets the cost of the top card of your deck to 0. So if you play like Soothe Fancy on 4 into Medium, you could play the 2 cards right away for 0. So Priest might be playable for a couple of weeks here. That's pretty spooky. Iskara now summons the next 2 Draenei you play. They copy summon a copy themselves. Treasure Hunter Eudora, which is meta in Imbue Rogue. Clearly, these changes were made a little bit ahead of time before Imbue Rogue took off. Goes to 4 instead of 5. So Imbue Rogue just got a little bit better. And Maestra goes from 5 mana to 2. 2 mana, 3/2 Maestra Masked Merchant. Still probably not even that great, but you get a hero card, and that's kind of nuts. And it's 0 with Shadow Step. Petty Theft goes to 1 mana, which is probably where it should have been to begin with. Agency Espionage now draws a card once you shuffle, which is pretty cool, pretty good. And Caress Cabaret Star goes from a 5 mana 5/5 to a 3 mana 3/3. Way better on that card. Archimond is now a 6 mana 6/6, more in line with demonic numbers, right? How about that? Abduction Ray is a 1 mana spell now, so it's 1 mana cheat, 2 mana effectively, unless it's a really cheap demon. Announce Darkness goes to 1 mana, nothing crazy there. Bot Face goes from 9 to 7 mana. Typically, whenever you would play this, the minis were like a liability, filled your hand with garbage, so it's still probably garbage. The minion sandwich that comes from Rye Cleaver is now 2 mana instead of 3 mana. Spore Empress Moldora, when you play her, she now casts one of those spores, right? So you actually don't just play an ogre, which is not too bad. Crimson Commander hand buffs +2/+1 instead of +1/+1 for Draenei. And then they updated a bunch of Whizbang's decks. We won't go into particulars. They kind of list what they've done here. If you want to take a look, again, patch notes down below. But if you're a Whizbang enjoyer, hey, they buffed them, and that is really cool. They also did some updates for the arena. There's no arena reset yet, so you don't need to get a run started or anything like that. You won't get a refund. However, they made changes to the drafting process, where Tavern of Time cards are no longer guaranteed every 10th draft, so 10, 20, and 30, as well as the first pick during redraft. So the deck shouldn't be as samey as it anymore, where you could get like a million of the Taverns of Time cards. Flash Forward re-enters the meta at 1 mana, and now you could draw 2 cards or gain 1 mana crystal instead of 2. So should be a lot more, you know, it's playable, but not broken. Thief of Futures got buffed to be a 2 mana 3/2. The Infinite Wolf is back as a 3 mana 4/3, and now gives your future Infinite Wolves +2/+1 instead of +4/+3. So not nearly as disgusting. So hopefully it's a little bit more bearable. Wildlands Adventure is a 3 mana 2/3. Stasis Elemental is a 3 mana 3/4. Possibility Seeker is a 4 mana 4/5. Master of Realities, 5 mana 4/7. And I still haven't seen anybody play this card in the arena. Rift Warden is now a 6 mana 6/6 instead of a 7 mana 7/7. That's 2 buffs for that stat line for Warlock. And Infinite Murloc is now a 2 mana 2/3 instead of a 1 mana 2/2. And it only gives a +1/+1 buff rather than +1/+2. We also have a ton of Battlegrounds updates, which we will skip over. We also get a new Gamba, and it's double the fun as we get Hogger and Varian as prizes, where yes, there's 2 very expensive options. I don't know how much it'll entirely cost. We'll find out. It's going to be even more expensive. They have signatures and all sorts of stuff in there. Again, only get the stuff if you think it is worth the total amount that it's basically posted up, because the odds of getting this pet or that portrait are going to be minuscule. But again, we don't have the pull rates and the odds yet. We'll find that out when the patch goes live, I believe. They did say, though, players will find drop rate details for treasures prizes directly in the game now, which is a big thing that I've been asking for. Rather than outright deleting the Gamba, which I would love, you will actually be able to see the odds of you pulling a specific prize in the game and not just on a website. And I believe it will update, as it says, it will use the most up-to-date drop rate information. So you will have a better idea of how bad you're getting scammed for the most part, that is a good thing. I'll give them a thumbs up on it, but I still don't really condone the whole thing. But at least it's slightly more transparent, which has, again, been one of my biggest complaints, other than the whole system being gross. And then there's some bug fixes. The main ones, honestly, not so much for standard, but Arena, where they fixed a bug, but you can no longer go infinite with Vuja Day. It cannot discover itself. They made Timebound Giant and Elemental, and they fixed Iron Juggernaut by adding its missing bucket. And lastly, I wanted to mention this because this is not in the patch notes. This is in another blog where they're going to be giving out, starting on March 10th, Chromie will use her Chronomancy to reach into the past and give you full access to every card from Into the Emerald Dream and the Lost City of Ngoro, including golden versions. These Dream City trial cards are free to use for the entirety of Cataclysm. Use them to build your deck and jump right into action. If you already own most of these cards, don't worry, we've got something cool for you. Earning Only Missing a Few Emerald Dream achievement grants you a signature legendary Ysera Emerald aspect, while completing Only Missing a Few Lost City awards a signature legendary Endbringer Umbra. These new achievements will unlock on March 10th, which is really cool. And all you have to do is log in between March 10th and the expansion launch to gain temporary. It's not permanent. It's not like the Chinese players that got like the cards permanently. It's temporary. But still, if you're like a player that hasn't played in a while and you want to try and get in there, you get these 2 expansions for free for an entire expansion cycle. And then maybe you could build up and earn cards as you go along, right? That's awesome. That's great. I wish it was permanent. It'd be cool if they just gave them expansions, but this is just a great thing. And of course, when March 10th comes, I'll have a whole video plugging it when it goes live, so you don't miss out on it if you haven't returned to Hearthstone yet. So awesome, awesome news. So overall, really cool that we're getting buffs. Really cool that we're getting a ton of free stuff. The Gamba stuff is icky, but at least they're being more transparent. And we do know a big balance change is coming for cards like Elise, maybe Blob of Tar. And this expansion looks so cool. I am so excited. And so far, I'm incredibly hopeful for this year of Hearthstone. Tomorrow, we'll have more card reviews. We'll have the day 1 patch review going through everything that happened in the Hearthstone world, because there's been a lot in case of stuff I've missed and all that. And yeah, card reviews will be daily throughout weekdays until for quite a while. And yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about. Anyways, that's a lot of yapping for one day. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.